I am pleased to welcome and to kick off our event by welcoming our new board member, Delphine Sellers, to share our land acknowledgement statement as we pay tribute to the land upon which we do our work. Delphine is the co-founder and executive director of Urban Community Agronomics, UCAN. UCAN runs a community garden and it conducts many nature-based programs at the Kodaba Trail Farm. And that farm is located on Triangle Land Conservancy property in Durham along the Little River, just above the confluence with the Eno. So I'll pass over to Delphine, ask her to unmute herself and share with us this wonderful statement.
Thank you, Emily. It is my honor. This is the Eno River Association land acknowledgement. The Eno River Association respectfully acknowledges that the land we are on today is traditional and ancestral homeland of the Eno, Shukuri, Sissipapaha, Ochinechee, other people of the Sioux descent and their descendants, the Ochinechee band of the Saponi Nation. Although they lived in separate villages and developed distinct identities, they spoke a common Tulu Saponi language. In this language, their descendants called them Yasar, which means the people. The Eno River Valley was their home for thousands of years before the arrival of people from other continents. Indigenous people are the original stewards of this land. The mission of the Eno River Association includes the protection of natural, cultural, and historical resources of the Eno River Valley. That protection is mostly necessary due to colonial practices and an economic system of land and ownership that has often degraded our environment and dispossessed many people of color. We make this acknowledgement as part of our education and commitment to inclusion of all in our community and recognition and respect for the history of this land and this river and all peoples and things on the Eno through time. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to recognize the folks who are in the room tonight from the tribe. Many of you have helped contribute to this statement, and we are grateful for the acknowledgement and the awareness that is growing for the Eno River Association. Now, I know we have quite a few folks joining us tonight, some brand new and some seasoned. As a membership organization, we're here tonight just to remind you of that we're all resources to each other. So I want to thank those of you who introduced yourselves in the chat and shared your favorite place along the Eno. You can keep doing so, but I am going to randomly pick a number. Actually, Hillary took care of this for me behind the scenes. She picked a number, and that number will correspond to someone who introduced themselves already tonight in the chat. And that person is going to win this beautiful set of hand-thrown glasses from Sarah's House of Clay, one of our 2021 Festival for the Eno Craft Artists. This will be the first of a few random drawings that we'll be doing tonight. And the winner is, according to the chat, Gregory Beck. So Gregory, congratulations. I will be happy to deliver these wonderful tumblers to you. Now, we have a lot to cover in our short hour tonight, so I want to give you a chance to put some names to faces, some faces to names, share a brief overview of the scope of our work, ways you can get involved through upcoming events and volunteer opportunities, plus there's that big announcement that we've been teasing. And we should wrap up by 8. So those of you who want to stay for Q&A after that, there will be that opportunity as well. All right. And it is now my honor to introduce Jessica Sheffield, Executive Director for the Eno River Association. Jessica, along with the board members listed here, lead the strategic efforts of the Eno. She joined us in the fall of 2019 from her previous work with the Nicholas Institute for the Environmental Policy Solutions at Duke University and a career in environment and education. Jessica.
Thanks, Emily. And thanks to everyone for joining us this evening. We're so pleased that you can share this hour together with us. As Emily said, I'm Jessica Sheffield, very proud to be serving as Executive Director here at the Eno. As was mentioned within our land acknowledgement statement, the mission of ours is to conserve and protect the natural, historical, and cultural resources of the Eno River Basin. It's a short sentence, it packs a big punch. The goals are lofty, and we're proud to be serving the community together with you in this way, and have been doing so for 60 years. Let me share with you a little bit about our history and the evolution of the association. As you may already know, there was a plan within the city of Durham in the 1960s to dam the Eno River, to create a drinking water reservoir over much of the land and the trees and the trails that we now know in northern Durham around the Eno. And at that time, the Eno River was listed on the state's impaired waterways list. In comparison, it's scoring about a B right now, so that's good news. Now, the Nygaards were a family living nearby, and were dismayed at the thought of what this damming and reservoir creation would do. They couldn't imagine the walking trails, the peaceful river, the wildlife habitat, the historic buildings, the mills, all being flooded. So Margaret, who is pictured here, and her husband Holger Nygaard, and their colleagues and their friends began talking to their neighbors, and they began taking those neighbors and city officials and anyone else who would join their walks and paddle trips to show them the diversity and beauty of the area. They knew what we know now, which is that if folks can touch this place and feel this place and hike and swim in this place, they're going to appreciate it, they're going to love it, and they're going to want to take care of it. They hosted talks about the history, the birds, the mills, the plants, and so on, and grew support for preserving this resource. Their opposition efforts were ultimately successful. The plans for the dam were scrapped. West Point on the Eno Durham City Park was established and preserved. The Association for the Preservation of the Eno River Valley, Inc. was officially born, and this volunteer group then had a solidified name and place in the community, now known as the Eno River Association. Now, in the 70s, the association was working closely with the Nature Conservancy. They were supporting the creation of the Eno River State Park and supported the North Carolina Folklife Festival, which was held at West Point. That festival inspired what we now know as the Festival for the Eno, which we've been hosting at West Point since 1980. Now, since Margaret's passing, the organization has shifted from an entirely volunteer-run organization to a year-round staff of 7, with a volunteer board of directors and hundreds of volunteers assisting us in a variety of important roles. I'm the current executive director, and you'll get to meet more of the staff as we move throughout the evening. Now, the current programs that we do here at the Eno River Association are built from the themes that the Nygaards set out for us: preserving and protecting the natural environment, providing opportunities for hands-on, feet-wet, immersive education programs in the watershed, continuing the Festival for the Eno tradition, hosting public events, being vocal advocates for land preservation, habitat protection, and climate change resilience, and documenting and sharing the history of folks who live in the river basin. There's a lot of good work to do. We're thrilled that you're interested in joining our efforts. Now, land conservation and land stewardship are the drivers for these efforts at the Eno, and I'm pleased to introduce tonight our Director of Conservation and Stewardship, Kim Livingston. Kim started working with us in 2014. She has overseen the acquisition of 700 acres thus far in her tenure here. She and Tom Davis, our Stewardship Associate, monitor and maintain the 7,500 acres we've preserved to date. I'm pleased to introduce Kim.
Thank you, Jessica. Next slide, please, Emily. Thank you. So as Jessica mentioned, since 1966, we have been working towards land protection in our watershed, and we have preserved over 7,500 acres of land in the Eno and the Little River watersheds. The map you see here shows all the land protected in the watershed, not necessarily lands we've helped protect. The purple areas do lands that we own in fee, which equals over 500 acres in 7 preserves. The orange represents land in which we hold conservation easements, which equals over 1,100 acres on 12 different properties. And the dark green, of course, is our beloved Eno River State Park, which we were instrumental in its creation. And then the light green is the lands that we have helped protect and that our partners have protected throughout the years. So we protect land in two basic ways. We purchase land outright, as well as use a tool called a conservation easement. So conservation easements are legal agreements between us and the landowner that restricts the property in perpetuity. Land remains in private ownership and it can't be developed, and the conservation values identified on the property are protected. We do both what's called forever wild conservation easements on our most environmentally significant lands, and we also do working lands conservation easements on working farms, allowing farming to continue and ensuring viable farmland into the future. We also purchase land identified in public park master plans or that we feel would be a good fit for a park. For example, an example of this would be our land acquisition work for Eno River State Park, which continues today. Once we have protected the land, we must of course take care of the land. And at the most basic level, we conduct annual monitoring on our properties, ensuring the properties are in good condition. We also do more active management on the land, which is what Tom takes a huge role in. And we help protect it, that we've helped protect. And these are things like trail maintenance, invasive species removal, and trash removal. So to help with these land stewardship activities, we use volunteers, and we have a lot of them, which is amazing. We hold public and private land stewardship work days across the watershed on both our lands and our partner lands. Our public work days are typically one Saturday a month from September to May, and they're usually held 9 to noon. And you can sign up to become a volunteer on our website if you're interested. We also have 2 special programs, one of which is our trail stewardship program. We currently have about 70 trail stewards, but we're actively seeking additional volunteers. These volunteers commit to walk 1 section of trail per month in Eno River State Park, West Point on the Eno, Penny's Bend, and our Confluence Natural Area. And they do light trail maintenance work like trash cleanup and brush removal. And they also report larger issues that they might find. So we also have another program called a Site Steward program that is similar, but rather than just trail maintenance, those volunteers help us care for our properties outside of the trails. So please let us know if you're interested in either of those special programs. So I wanted to tell you just about a couple upcoming events that we have in stewardship. One of them is for Durham's Creek Week, which is March 19th, and it's going to be held at River Forest Park from 9 to noon. Through a Burt's Bees Foundation grant, we're restoring the old playground area with native pollinator plant species. The city will be installing a new playground at a higher location in the River Forest neighborhood. And then we're also hosting a rain garden and water quality workshop on April 9th at our office. However, that registration for that workshop is full, but I wanted to tell you about it because it's exciting and something new that we're doing, and we hope to host additional ones in the future. So again, if you're interested in becoming a stewardship volunteer, you can sign up on our website. So next up is our Director of Education, Hillary Harris. Hillary spent 10 seasons at Hatteras National Seashore as an interpretive park ranger for the National Park Service before making her way to the Triangle area in 2016. She came to us from Durham Parks and Recreation's Outdoor Recreation Unit in February of 2021 as our Education and Outreach Director. So Hillary, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kim. Nice to see everybody this evening. So glad to be here. So yeah, my name is Hillary Harrison. I'm the Director of Education and Outreach for the Eno. I manage all of our education programs, hikes, camps, school trips, and basically anything education. So I'll tell you more about many of those programs in just a moment, but I'd also like to introduce you to Audrey Vaughn. Audrey is our environmental educator who's serving for 11 months with us through Resilience Corps North Carolina, which is an AmeriCorps program. So Audrey can't be here tonight, but if you participate in a program or an event sometime this spring or summer, then I'm sure you will have the opportunity to meet her. All right. So we are quite busy over in education at the Eno. We offer a variety of public and private programming throughout the year. So I'll start with our Sunday hike series, which begins after the new year and takes place every Sunday afternoon through mid-May. In the winter months, these hikes are geared towards history and geology along the Eno, while in the spring, we celebrate and explore the emerging wildflowers along the river. We're starting our spring wildflower hike series this coming Sunday. So we also work closely with some of the schools in our area, and we visit them in their classrooms to teach students about the Eno, the environment, and what they can do to help us to protect them. We invite schools out to the river for field trips so that they can explore the outdoors with us and continue learning outside. We coordinate youth stewardship work days with small groups looking to volunteer their time, and we typically incorporate an educational opportunity during those events. The association offers 2 summer day camp programs along the Eno. So we have I Walk the Eno Science and Nature Camp, which is for ages 8 to 12, which takes place at Eno River State Park for 2 weeks in June. We also have Eno River Field Station for ages 12 to 15 that takes place at the Confluence Natural Area up in Hillsborough for 1 week in July. So these are both really fun for us, and we engage with the youth in our area and explore nature with them. We're outdoors all day with certified North Carolina school teachers who work closely every day with the campers doing hands-on activities and learning. We also offer monthly education programs on a variety of topics, as well as participate in other Eno and community events throughout the year. We also coordinate the publication of the annual Eno Wall Calendar, which highlights photographs taken by the Eno community and tells stories each month about everything from flowers to folklore. And we play a large role in the publication of the Eno River Journal, which we just published a new edition of. Ribbons of Color Along the Eno River, The History of People of Color Living on the Eno is a publication that's the 2nd edition to our Ribbons of Color journal series. The original Ribbons of Color was published last February, and we just published and now have available the 2nd one. This is a new edition with a whole new collection of stories. These are often untold stories of people of color who lived and currently live along the Eno River. So both editions of the journal are available for sale in the online store, so we hope you'll pick up a copy today. Oh, we have a few upcoming education events coming very soon. So for Durham Creek Week, we're offering a fabulous frogs program to learn about awesome amphibians. And hopefully the weather will be warm enough that we'll get to go on a short hike and listen for spring frogs. So it's actually this coming weekend, so fingers crossed. Recycling Rendezvous will be the following week, and it's all about the cool things that you can do with your trash. I mean, literally. So we're going to make some fun crafts and useful things out of things that you might otherwise throw away or recycle. Both of these programs require registration, so our Eventbrite page is available so that you can learn more and register if you're interested. We also are hosting a monthly virtual lunch and learn series rather, this spring. On the final Friday of each month at noon, Audrey, our AmeriCorps member, will be presenting through Zoom and Facebook Live on a variety of environmental topics. So last month's topic was biodiversity, and in March, she'll be talking about some of the notable species who live along the Eno and how we can protect them. I'd also like to mention our spring wildflower hikes. I mentioned those a few minutes ago. They are starting this coming Sunday, and they'll be going every Sunday through mid-May. I will say that they're full. There is a wait list left for some of them, but they're very popular, so they fill up really fast. So Audrey and I facilitate many of our programs, but there's quite a few that would not happen without the time, commitment, and knowledge of our wonderful volunteers. So we would love for you to consider joining us as a volunteer. I'm always looking for folks to assist with hikes, education programs, and other events. So if you have experience or an interest in talking with folks and sharing your passion for the nature, the outdoors, history, and the Eno, feel free to reach out and we can talk about some opportunities. I appreciate you all joining us this evening, and I hope to see you out along the Eno sometime very soon at one of our education events. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Greg Bell. Greg is the director of our festival for the Eno, and Greg has been with the Eno for over 20 years. He's been around for a long time, and he has a lot of great things to tell you about events and the festival.
Hello, everybody. It's great to see so many familiar names as well as so many new names over here on my right-hand participant column. As Hillary said, I'm Greg Bell. I've been with the Eno River Association since the year 2000. Prior to that, I worked in performing arts, management, and performing, as well as electoral politics, and somehow found myself qualified for this job. As Hillary said, I coordinate the festival for the Eno. I also coordinate other major events such as Jamborino and the Eno River Run when our public health situation allows us to have those. The festival for the Eno, for those of you who may not be familiar, is held every Independence Day weekend. We've held that since 1980 at West Point on the Eno Durham City Park, right there over off of Duke and Roxborough Street. It's our largest education, advocacy, and fundraising event. It features 5 stages of music, a juried craft show featuring generally 80 to 90 North Carolina and other Southeastern artists, 20 to 30 food vendors, and just tons of hands-on, feet-wet experiential learning opportunities. Speaking of trash and trash-free, as Hillary did, talking about the program she's got coming up, we have an award-winning trash-free program at our festival that reduces by 97% the amount of waste that goes into the landfill. As you can imagine, running a festival this large, it draws 10 to 20,000 people each year, needs lots of volunteers. There it is on the second line of this slide. We need over 600 volunteers each year to staff the drink booths and manage the stages and sort the trash and all of those sorts of things. There are jobs before, during, and after the festival. If you want to learn more about the festival or sign up or see about joining a committee, email the festival@enoriver.org email address, or visit us on the website enoriver.org/volunteer, or follow the links to the festival. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in July.
Thanks, Greg. I'm already counting down the days. I think you said 120 until it's go time for the festival.
117, but who's counting?
Who's counting? Great. It's my favorite time of year. I'm looking forward to it. Well, as I mentioned earlier this evening, the roots of the Eno River Association were planted in advocacy work in Northern Durham in the 60s. As development in this area has ebbed and flowed over the past decades, our direct advocacy work has followed. There were years that direct advocacy work was a bit more dormant, but now there are development pressures throughout the Triangle at an all-time high. There's quite a gold rush, it seems, for housing in the area. And so our work in advocacy is needing to be reinvigorated and reimagined. The Eno River Association advocates for parkland and natural area protection, water quality preservation, and community planning that incorporates efficient and environmentally sound practices. What we aim to do is to increase the public's appreciation for the environment, awareness of environmental threats, and work to change outcomes that would otherwise threaten important natural areas in the Eno River area. At around the time I was hired in late 2019, there were many asks being made of the association to get involved in such community efforts. People want us to help slow down the rate of developments along the river, help improve the plans of those sites that are going to be built within the basin, and to help sort of advise community members, work alongside community members, bolster community efforts as they get involved in local planning and in the government arena too. Now, for example, there have already been some questions in the chat and a lot of community interest in the West Point Plan. The West Point Plan is a housing development proposed to be built on the southern border of West Point on the Eno Durham City Park. Access to those 400 homes would be by way of an extension of Stadium Drive and a new access road that would be coming in off of Roxborough near the Faith Community Church. The ridge on which this development is slated to be built is locally referred to as Black Meadow Ridge. Now, a group of neighbors in Argonne Hills and also Horton Hills and others nearby organized themselves into a group called Save Black Meadow Ridge. We at the Eno River Association are working closely with them on efforts to slow down the progress on this development, perhaps being able to stop it altogether, but hopefully at a minimum, improving the site plan so that its impacts on the river and the river's tributaries are lessened. Now, that's just one of the projects that we're working on. There have been and will be many others. As I've mentioned, growth is continuing in this area at a terrific rate. If you're interested in joining us in this work, we have a new Land Use and Advocacy Committee. We meet quarterly as a large group, and then the sub-working groups meet more regularly as needed. Here's information about how to sign up. Now, on the next slide, we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about how we get this work done. Now, in the newsletter that some of you may have just received today, but if you haven't yet, you'll receive it soon. You'll see our 2021 annual report that includes this graph. So this will look particularly familiar. And what I want to highlight is that the income that the association receives comes from your membership dues, your contributions, the festival for the Eno, others of our public programs, and grants which our staff are working year-round to acquire and manage. Much of our income is coming directly from you. I can't emphasize enough how grateful we are for the contributions that you're making to our important work. We are financially strong with thanks to you. And I think you'll be as pleased as I am proud to see that the expenses at the Eno River Association are aligned with our goals and what we give back to you and to the community. Our expenses are to protect and maintain land, to run our programs, to put on the festival, to attain and manage grant funding. Our management, admin, development costs are covered almost entirely by the income from our 7 rental properties, interest income, and program fees, which allows and ensures your donations directly to support our mission-driven work and not our overhead costs. So again, I thank you for your membership and your support of our ongoing work. Now, it is my privilege to invite Emily Hill back to the microphone. Emily, as you know, is our development director, having joined our team in early 2000 after both a career in development with the Girl Scouts and in theater and Major League Baseball in the DC area. Emily?
Thanks, Jessica. It's nice to see you all again. I really like that slide before because I think it makes a really strong case for why you, our donors, are so important to the association, to our mission, and why we work so hard to connect our message to the community. As Jessica spoke to earlier, the Eno River Association has its origin story in a grassroots effort of a group of individuals coming together, and it's in that spirit that we call each and every one of our donors a member of the association. Membership to us means that you're connected to this work through more than just your giving. It means that you will be an advocate, you're a voice for the Eno, you're a volunteer when able, and you share the Eno with others. And it's because of that that we want to give you a few special access, events, and benefits. While those things might not be what caused you to become a member, we hope they'll help deepen your connection to the Eno. You can see all of our member benefits on our website, but I'll just highlight a few that I want to highlight. All donors of $35 or more do receive an Eno bumper sticker with their first gift. Now, this started in the fall of 2020. So if you are a member who joined us before that time and didn't get one, or if by some mistake it didn't make it to your household, please send me an email or give me a call so that I can make that right. Members also will receive reduced or free registration for certain education programs and events, along with special invitations to members-only events or pre-registration or priority access for some of our more popular public events. We also have a few other members-only thank you gifts and opportunities, including a discount on Eno River merchandise during our annual member sale. And in addition, we have 2 giving societies, our Wildflower Society for those who give $500 or more annually, and our sustaining members, those who give on a recurring monthly basis, they receive a few other special invitations and special thank yous. If you want to learn more about that, you can see the link in our chat box, or you can email me. And so as a thank you for being a new member and attending our event tonight, we're going to provide you a 20% off promo code for your next purchase at our Eno River online store. You can just put that code new member into checkout through tomorrow. And while you're distracting yourself with all the things that you're about to purchase, I want to do one more random selected drawing. So Hillary is, maybe she put it in the chat already, but she is going to send, congratulations to Nancy Cox. You have won a very awesome Eno Fest swag bag. This is our 2021 swag bag from our sponsors. It has a bunch of really fun things like pint glasses from Discover Durham, a Durham scented candle from Bright Black Candles, a t-shirt from the Carolina Theater, and much, much more. So Nancy, I'll be reaching out to figure out how to get that fun pack of goodies to you. So thank you for joining us tonight. And I look forward to lots of opportunities to appreciate our members and how you invest in the future of the Eno. And so another way that we like to do that is to give you information and help you, like tonight's event, and also like that big special announcement that we're going to share with you momentarily. So I'm happy to welcome back Kim Livingston, our Director of Conservation and Stewardship, to share more and update us on the big things that are coming to Eno.
Thanks, Emily, and hi, everybody again. So our team is always juggling multiple property transactions and conservation easements. More often than not, this work has to remain strictly under wraps until contracts are signed or closings have occurred. However, we have so many exciting projects in the pipeline for 2022. We can't wait to give you just a little sneak peek. In fact, we're on pace to protect 350 acres this year, which is far more than in recent history. So we're super excited about that. We are also extremely excited to share with you, if you haven't heard already, that we protected 95 acres just a week and a half ago, of which 70 acres were added to our Confluence Natural Area. If you don't know about our Confluence Natural Area, it is the one preserve that we have open to the public and that we opened in 2018. It's now 270 acres, and it sits between the east and west forks of the Eno River, and the Eno River begins right at the base of the property. It's a beautiful place. It has over 2 miles of hiking trails. It's north of Hillsborough, so if you get a chance, definitely check it out. So we also are working on some other exciting projects. We're working on a conservation easement on the 87-acre Blue Stem Conservation Cemetery, which is a partnership with Land Matters and Triangle Land Conservancy. We're working on a project that is a 71-acre conservation easement on the historic Moorfields property in Hillsborough, and that's in partnership with Orange County, the North Carolina Land and Water Fund, as well as the City of Raleigh. We're also working on a 71-acre wetland protection in the lower Eno that's near Tier Quarry. We also are planning to open our second public nature preserve that will include 2 miles of hiking trails and over 1 mile of river and stream frontage. And we plan to open that in 2023. So stay tuned for that. So we've got some big news to share with you, and that is coming up right now. So the most exciting thing that's going on in our lives and has been going on for the last year and a half or so is that we are facilitating a transaction that could bring Eno River State Park to downtown Hillsborough. This will be the first of its kind in North Carolina, as it will bring a state park into municipal boundaries. As many of you know, this land is owned by Classical American Homes Preservation Trust and has been operated as a park for many years. Classical American Homes purchased this land beginning in 1993 to protect Airmount when a bypass for the town was proposed that would expand Elizabeth Brady Road through this land and close to the Airmount property. To most, this land is protected. However, Classical American Homes Preservation Trust is now in a position where they feel it would be best for a more fitting organization to own and manage the property. Because Classical American Homes' mission is actually to preserve, protect, and open to the public examples of Classical American residential architecture, and these two properties just don't fit within that mission. So when Classical American Homes decided they needed to sell the land, they naturally reached out to us. Like so much of what we've done in the past, they knew that we were the right organization to find the next logical owners. So this land is divided into 2 areas. There's a 206-acre parcel, which is outlined here in red. And this land will hopefully be sold to the state for inclusion into Eno River State Park. And that's pending all necessary funding. This land includes the historic Occoneechee Speedway, which is the only surviving dirt track from NASCAR's inaugural 1949 season. It is also only one of 3 racetracks listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This also includes an 80-acre state-dedicated nature preserve called the James N. Johnson Nature Preserve, as well as the Mountains to Sea Trail, which connects Riverwalk to Eno River State Park. This transaction could bring 2.8 miles of river frontage, 4 miles of trails, and over 200 acres of important natural areas to Eno River State Park. There's also another parcel that will be part of this transaction. It's what we call the Eno River Bend. Some of you may know it as the Oxbow. It will be donated to the Archaeological Conservancy. And this site contains 4 known early settlements dating back to 1000 AD, including an Occoneechee band of the Saponi Nation village dating to 1690. The Occoneechee band was engaged in conversations about the future of this property from the onset. The choice to transfer the land to the Archaeological Conservancy provides protection to the property now. And when and if the tribe determines that they would like to pursue ownership of the property, the Conservancy will be open to working with them on the possible transfer. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jessica.
Great, that's me. Yes, so let's talk about how we're going to get this done from a financial perspective. So we're talking about a $2 million land transaction project. And so here's how that's going to work. In this particular case, the Preservation Trust will be donating 23% of that $2 million land value. The remaining funds must be found over the next year, and we'll do that through public and private sources. So for instance, we, along with the North Carolina Division of Parks and Rec, are applying for local, state, and federal funding. In addition, we're very pleased to announce this evening that the Harkrader family has donated $100,000 of their personal funds to inspire others to donate to the association this year. Such a generous $100,000 matching gift and the subsequent funds that we will raise will ensure our ability to protect important properties like this one along the Eno. In the chat box, Hillary is putting in more information about how you can donate via our website if you'd like to increase your gift at this time to help us with this. Now, this may spark your interest in going out to discover or rediscover these gems in Hillsborough. So we hope that you will sign up to join us for some special hikes on this property. On March 26th, we're offering either a 10 a.m. session or, if you prefer, an 11:30 a.m. session. During each, we'll offer 3 walks for you to choose from, 1 at the Nature Preserve, 1 at the River Bend, and the 3rd at the Speedway. Space will be limited. Registration is required. So there's a sign-up opportunity for you that I think Hillary just posted. Now, I will add that if you are a Wildflower Society member or a sustaining member of the Eno River Association, there are additional opportunities for you to either have a small group or a private tour throughout the month. Your hikes won't be limited just to the 26th. We really hope to see you there. It's going to be a great opportunity, as I said, to either discover or rediscover these 3 special places. Now, that concludes the slideshow and the myriad of things that we wanted to share with you this evening. The staff are going to stay on for about the next 10 or 15 more minutes to ensure that your questions do get answered. So please stay on and either raise your hand and we can unmute you, or you can type your question in the chat. I do believe there's one more raffle prize, though, that we want to make sure to give away while you're thinking of those. If you aren't interested in staying on for any more question and answer period, I want to just wish you a happy evening. And again, thank you for spending part of your time with us tonight. So let me look back and see what I need to know about a raffle prize, because I think that what we have, while you're thinking,
we have 2 bottles of wine donated by our wonderful board member, Sarah Woodard. They are Biltmore's Reserve Rosé and a Chardonnay. And if you are not a drinker, we are also happy to sub that out with something really wonderful instead from the Eno store. So Hillary will momentarily put the winner into the chat. And do remember to share your questions either in the chat or raise your hand. I'll be monitoring both to make sure that we get you your question answered. We did have a question in the chat about what is our intention on maintaining the speedway, maintaining the properties as they currently are. And before you answer that question, Kim, congratulations to Susan Zell for winning the wine. We will be in touch to get you to check your ID and get you those prizes. So I'll repeat the question, Kim, unless you're prepared to answer. But I think the question was, how will the property be maintained? What's going to change? What will stay the same? What does becoming Eno River State Park do to affect these properties?
Yeah, sure. I can answer that. So as you all know, Eno River State Park has a ton of resources. They have staff who can build trails. They have education staff. They have law enforcement. And so all of these things will help not only improve the condition of the park, or what's seen as the park, the Classical American Homes land, but it will also add a safety component to this area. So as you also know, with Eno River State Park, there is an opening and a closing time to the park, which we will likely see here as well. That too is for your safety. Some improvements that we could potentially see with it becoming part of Eno River State Park is improvements to the parking area, possibly some facilities like a bathroom structure in the future, that sort of thing. And just the historical components like the Occoneechee Speedway being maintained as they are today, and improvements made to those structures and track. Let's see, did that answer your question there?
Yeah, I think that looks like that was the answer I was looking for. Hopefully, if you have other questions, feel free to type it in the chat. We did have a clarification question in the chat. Is the Eno River Association buying the property?
Right, so that is not our intention. Our intention is to do what we have done for a very long time, for 50 plus years, is to facilitate the sale of land such as this. And so we're hoping that when we get to closing, that it will just close directly with, with the state, and then be included into Eno River State Park and the Archaeological Conservancy.
Great, and I think you could tag onto that a little bit of a reminder about the relationship between the Eno River Association and Eno River State Park, 2 separate entities, and how do we inform each other?
Yes, so we are 2 different entities, often confused. We have very similar names. So one of the ways that our work impacts Eno River State Park is that we help add land to their master plan. So there is a very large master plan for Eno River State Park. There's still almost 2,000 acres left to acquire for Eno River State Park. And so one of the goals within my program, Land and Stewardship, is to actually work to complete that master plan. The other way, and we do that in many ways. We can actually buy the land and then turn it over to the state at a later time. We still hold land today that's slated to go to the state, or We just do all of the legwork and then bring the property at closing to the state, and they close directly, which is our hope here. We also are the friends of Eno River State Park, so supporting them and their operations and whatever they may need to help the park stay in the best condition.
Thank you, Kim. Do we have any other questions? If not, we will close out the slide, this event just a little bit early. I will go ahead and end our recording and our slideshow and say thank you so much. And if folks want to stay on and say hello to anybody that they see or care to greet, we can certainly do that. But we are so grateful for you to join us tonight. And I will pass it over to Jessica in case there are any parting words.
Yes, thanks. I just did want to address Maggie's question about the recording being available for a later viewing, and I think that that answer is yes. We did want to make sure that folks who weren't able to join tonight could still see it. Am I right on that, Emily? Okay,
That's
terrific. On the website soon, if not already, we will have a frequently asked question page available to you all regarding the Hillsborough project, because later tonight or into your week or after the walk that you take with us on the 26th, you may have more questions. We've tried to anticipate those, and so we do have a fact sheet already ready. And like I say, for those of you who had more questions on any of the advocacy projects, developments that you're hearing about in your neighborhood, please do stay in touch with me. I'm the staff liaison to the Land Use and Advocacy Committee, and we'd be happy to talk with you. We have a variety of committees where volunteers such as yourselves can directly engage with the staff and the board in our work. About a dozen active committees. And so again, please get in touch with me if there's a way I can link you and your interests and skills to those dozen committees. But we have many ways, as you've heard tonight, to engage with the Eno River Association. Thank you for your membership. Thank you for being here tonight. I wish you all a very good week.